wait. Before you spend that dime in your pocket, I need you to stop. Because right now, across America, people are throwing away dimes worth 10, 20, even $50,000. These 5 Roosevelt dimes, Link, sitting in American homes right now, stare dead into camera. And the people who have them have absolutely no idea. Stay for the next 7 minutes, and I will show you exactly what to look for. Because one of these coins could already be in your hand. Coin 1. The Korean War is raging. American soldiers are thousands of miles from home, fighting in frozen mountains they had never heard of before. Back home, mothers are praying. Fathers are working double shifts. Children are going to sleep wondering if their brothers are coming back. And in Denver, Colorado, deep inside the United States Mint, a small copper nickel disc is being pressed between 2 steel dies. In a fraction of a second, Franklin Roosevelt's face appears. A dime is born. This specific dime, the 1951D Roosevelt dime, was struck during one of the most emotionally charged years in modern American history. And somehow, through 7 decades of time, it survived. Not just survived. It transformed into something nobody expected. Here's what makes this coin completely one of a kind. 2 things happened to this dime that almost never happened together. First, the Denver mint strike. The D-mint mark on this coin tells you it came from Denver. In 1951, the Denver Mint was producing dimes at enormous speed, rushing production to keep up with a wartime economy. But within that rushed production, a small number of dies produced coins with an unusually sharp and deep strike. Every detail pressed harder than normal. Every line crisper than it should have been. Roosevelt's portrait, razor defined. The date bold and proud. The mint mark D, strong and unmistakable. The light black layer. Over the course of 70-plus years, this coin developed something extraordinary. A natural dark toning, a soft, smooth, light black layer, settled across both the front and the reverse of this coin simultaneously. Look at the front, that dark shadow sitting over Roosevelt's portrait. Not dirt, not damage. Pure natural chemistry between the metal and decades of air. Now look at the reverse. The torch, the olive branch, the oak branch, all beneath that same dark, mysterious layer. Both sides. Matching tone. Perfect underlying detail still fully visible. That combination, sharp Denver strike plus matching bilateral black toning, exists on only a handful of known examples in the entire world. Let me walk you through exactly how to identify this coin. Pick up any old dime. Look at the front. Do you see Franklin Roosevelt's profile facing right? Check the date. Does it clearly read 1951? If yes, keep going. Look at the mint mark. On a 1951 dime, the mint mark appears on the reverse, to the left side of the torch at the bottom. Do you see a small letter D there? Denver made this coin. That D is your first green light. Now study the color. Hold the coin under a good light source. Look at the front first. Is the surface darker than a normal dime? Not dirty dark, not scratch dark, but a smooth, even, natural dark tone, almost like a shadow permanently cast across the coin. Now flip it. Does the reverse show the same dark toning, same smooth, shadowy layer on both sides equally? If both sides match, your heart should be beating faster right now. Look through the dark layer. Can you still see Roosevelt's facial details clearly beneath the dark surface? Hairlines visible, ear defined, jaw sharp. On the reverse, can you see the torch detail, the branches, the lettering? Dark layer present, but details fully preserved underneath. That is the golden combination. Do not attempt to clean it. A coin cleaner will strip that natural toning in seconds. Place it gently in a protective holder, touching only the edges. Now, if your coin matches everything I just described, sharp strike, Denver mint mark, light black layer on both sides, details fully visible underneath. That coin in your hand is worth $62,000 for a dime. One single dime. In 1951, an American worker at the Denver Mint clocked in for his morning shift. He had no idea he was about to strike a coin that would one day be worth $62,000. That coin left the mint, maybe went into a soldier's pocket, maybe into a child's piggy bank, maybe into a diner's cash register in small-town America. It traveled through decades. Through the end of the Korean War, through the space race, through the moon landing. And somewhere along that journey, it quietly, slowly, beautifully turned dark, like it was putting on a suit of armor, protecting itself, waiting for someone who would finally recognize what it had become. That someone could be you. Check your dimes tonight. Coin 2, 1977 Roosevelt dime, 1907. America's changing. The Vietnam War is finally over. The country is healing. People are moving forward, putting the pain of the past decade behind them. Elvis Presley dies. Star Wars hits the theaters for the first time. New York City is struggling through one of its darkest years. And somewhere in Philadelphia, inside the oldest mint in the entire United States, a tiny dime rolls off the production line. No fanfare, no ceremony, just another coin in a pile of millions. But this dime, this one specific 1977 Roosevelt dime, it was different from the moment it was born because it came into this world missing something that every other coin had. And that missing piece is worth $51,000 today. Here is what makes this coin unlike anything else in American coinage history. Look at the front of this dime very carefully. You see Roosevelt's portrait, you see the date 1977, you see the word liberty, and in God we trust. Now look to the left of Roosevelt's portrait, just above the date. Where the mint mark should be, there is nothing. No P, no D, no S. Just empty space. Now you might be thinking, so what? Maybe it's just a Philadelphia coin. Philadelphia didn't always use the P mint mark. And you would be right. Philadelphia coins from this era often had no mint mark. But here's what makes this specific coin extraordinary. This 1977 no mint mark dime develops something on its front surface that Philadelphia coins almost never show. A natural light brown spot toning, not scratches, not stains, not damage. A warm, rich, organic brown coloring, sitting naturally on the front face of the coin like a fingerprint left by time itself. Coin experts call this targeted obverse spot toning. And when it appears on a no mint mark coin in this specific pattern, it creates a coin so visually distinctive and so rarely documented that collectors chase it for years. One side tone, one side clean, no mint mark. Original surfaces untouched. That combination exists in almost no other known example. Here's your step-by-step guide to finding this coin. Find any dime and look at the front. Roosevelt facing right. Check the date. Does it say 1977? That is your starting point. Look carefully for the mint mark. On a 1977 dime, it should appear on the front of the coin, to the left of Roosevelt's portrait just above the date. Is there a letter there? Any letter at all? If the space is completely empty, no letter whatsoever, you are already holding something unusual. Now study the front surface of the coin very carefully. Do you see any brown coloring? Not rust. Not dirt that wipes away. But a soft, warm, brownish tone, sitting naturally and smoothly on the surface? Is it appearing in spots, concentrated areas, rather than covering the whole coin? That natural spot toning on the obverse is your golden signal. Now flip the coin over. Now look at the reverse. The torch, the branches, the lettering. Is the reverse relatively clean and normal looking compared to the front? Front toned, reverse clean. That contrast is exactly what makes this coin so special and so identifiable. Check the overall surfaces. Despite the toning on the front, can you still clearly see Roosevelt's portrait? Is the date 1977 fully readable? Is the detail sharp underneath the brown spots? If yes to everything, place it immediately in a coin holder and contact PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. So let's put this all together. A 1977 Roosevelt dime. No mint mark anywhere on the coin. Natural light brown spot toning on the front surface only. Reverse clean and original. Details sharp and fully preserved underneath. If your coin matches every single one of those characteristics, that dime in your hand is worth $51,000 for a 10-cent coin. One dime, 1977 was a year of beginnings and endings, of things being lost and things being found. This dime rolled out of the Philadelphia Mint that year, unmarked, unnoticed, unremarkable to everyone who touched it. It passed through cash registers and coat pockets and piggy banks and forgotten jars and forgotten shelves. In all that time, quietly, those little brown spots were forming. Time leaving its mark. History writing itself onto a 10-cent piece. And now, nearly 50 years later, that same unremarkable dime that nobody noticed is one of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever documented. $51,000 worth of history. Sitting in the dark. Waiting. Check your 1,977 dimes tonight. The forgotten dime is still out there, and it has been waiting a very long time to be found. Coin 3, 2003D Roosevelt dime. The modern miracle. 2003. The internet is changing everything. People are shopping online for the first time. Cell phones are becoming normal. The world is moving faster than it ever had before. And in Denver, Colorado, the United States Mint is running at full speed, pressing millions of dimes every single day. Nobody is paying attention to individual coins anymore. Why would they? It is just pocket change. Just 10 cents. But deep inside one specific batch of 2003 Denver dimes, something was happening that nobody noticed. A small number of coins were coming off the dies with characteristics so precise, so perfectly balanced, that they stood completely apart from every other dime produced that entire year. Most of them were spent within days. Vending machines, parking meters, coffee shops, gone forever. But a tiny few survived. And one of those survivors is worth $13,000 today. Here's what makes the 2003D Roosevelt dime so shocking to the coin world. This is a modern coin. Not from the 1940C. Not from the 1950S. Not from some distant era of American history. 2003. A coin that could have been in your pocket last week. And that is exactly what makes it so extraordinary and so dangerous to overlook. The D-Mint mark tells you this coin came from Denver. In 2003, the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of dimes. Mass production at industrial scale. But within that massive output, certain die pairs produce coins with what experts call a superior strike quality. Every detail on the coin pressed to absolute perfection. Roosevelt's portrait on the front, every single hairline visible. The ear perfectly shaped. The jawline crisp and strong. The eye socket deep and defined. On the reverse, the torch standing tall and proud. And most importantly, the horizontal bands crossing the center of that torch, fully separated. Crystal clear. Not blended. Not weak. Coin graders call this full torch bands, and on a 2003D dime in fine condition, it is almost impossible to find. Because in 2003, nobody was saving their dimes. Nobody was looking. And the coins that had this perfect strike quality were spent one by one, without a second glance. The few that survived in fine condition with full torch bands are now among the most talked about modern Roosevelt dimes in the entire collecting community. Here's exactly how to check your own coins. Look at any dime in your possession right now. Check the front. Roosevelt facing right. Now read the date clearly. Does it say 2003? If yes, do not put that coin down. Find the mint mark. On a 2003 dime, the mint mark appears on the front of the coin, to the left of Roosevelt's portrait just above the date. Do you see a small letter D? Denver struck this coin. That D is your first confirmation. Study Roosevelt's portrait very carefully. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Can you see individual hairlines on Roosevelt's head? Is his ear clearly defined with visible detail inside? Is the jawline sharp and strong? The sharper the portrait, the more valuable the coin. Flip the coin to the reverse. Find the torch in the center. Now look at the horizontal bands crossing the middle section of that torch. Are those bands clearly separated from each other? Can you see a definite gap between them? Or are they blurry and merged into one another? Separated and clear, you could be holding $13,000. Blurry and merged, ordinary dime. Check the overall condition. Fine condition means the coin has been in circulation, lightly used, but still retains strong, clear detail across the entire surface. No deep scratches, no heavy wear, no cleaning marks. If everything matches, place it in a protective holder immediately and contact PCGS or NGC for certification. Think about what I just told you. A coin from 2003. A coin that could be sitting in your car right now, in your kitchen drawer. In that jar of loose change you never bother counting. 2003D Roosevelt dime. Fine condition. Full torch bands. Sharp portrait. Denver mint mark. If your coin matches all of that, that 10-cent piece is worth $13,000. $13,000. Not from the 1800s. Not from some ancient era. From 2003. 21 years ago. This coin teaches us something that none of the others could. We always assume that rare means old. We think valuable means ancient. We believe that something made in our own lifetime could never be worth anything serious. But the 2003 Roosevelt dime proves every single one of those assumptions completely wrong. This coin was made in the age of the internet, in the age of cell phones, in the age of everything moving too fast to stop and look down at your change. And maybe that is exactly why it is so rare. Because in 2003, nobody was looking. Everyone was too busy moving forward, too busy spending their dimes without a second thought. But right now, you stopped. You looked. You learned. Go check your change tonight. Because the modern miracle is not hiding in a museum. It is hiding in plain sight right where you left it. Coin 4, 1975D, 1975. America is 1 year away from its 200th birthday. The entire country is preparing for the biggest celebration in its history. Flags are being sewn. Parades are being planned. Every city from New York to Los Angeles is getting ready to mark 2 centuries of American freedom. And in Denver, the mint is running day and night. Pressing coins. Millions of them. Tens of millions. Because a growing country needs money. And money needs to move. One specific dime rolls off the Denver press that year, gets counted, bagged, shipped, and disappears into the American economy. Into hands and pockets and registers and jars. It lives a full life. It circulates. It travels. And somewhere along that journey, time leaves its mark on this coin in a way that nobody planned. In a way that turned a 10-cent piece into a $54,500 treasure. Here's what separates this coin from every other 1,975 Denver dime ever made. 2 things came together on this coin that created something completely unique. First, the reverse mint mark. On most Roosevelt dimes from this era, the mint mark sits on the front of the coin near Roosevelt's portrait. But this specific 1975D dime carries its mint mark on the reverse, the back of the coin, positioned near the base of the torch. This reverse placement on a 1975 dime is an anomaly, a production irregularity that slipped through quality control completely undetected. Most coins with this characteristic were spent before anyone realized what they had. Second, the brown spot toning. This coin has been circulated. It has been used as real money in the real world. And during that circulation, natural brown spot toning developed on the reverse surface of the coin. Not uniform toning, not a full layer. Specific organic brown spots, sitting naturally on the reverse, around and near that misplaced mint mark. Like the coin is drawing attention to its own secret. The spots are not damage. They are not corrosion. They are natural chemistry, decades of the metal reacting with the environment it traveled through. And here's what makes coin experts stop breathing when they see this. Despite the circulation, despite the brown spots, despite decades of being handled by countless people, the underlying detail on this coin is still clearly visible. Roosevelt on the front, defined and readable. The torch on the reverse, still strong. Circulated condition with natural reverse spot toning and a misplaced mint mark, documented in almost no other known example. Here's your complete identification guide. Pick up any dime and check the front. Roosevelt facing right. Date reads 1975. That is your starting point. Now do something different from what I have told you before. Instead of looking for the mint mark on the front, flip the coin immediately to the reverse. Look at the base of the torch at the bottom of the coin. Do you see a small letter D near the torch base on the reverse side? That is not where it belongs, and that is exactly why it is valuable. Study the reverse surface carefully. Do you see any brown coloring on the back of the coin? Natural warm brownish spots sitting on the surface, particularly near the torch and mint mark area? Not scratches, not dirt that rubs off, but smooth organic brown spots that have settled into the surface naturally over decades? If yes, you're looking at something extremely rare. Now check the front. Despite this coin being circulated, can you still read the date 1975 clearly? Can you make out Roosevelt's portrait? Is Liberty still readable? Circulated does not mean destroyed. Fine circulated condition means worn but still detailed. Do not attempt to remove those brown spots. Those spots are the value. Removing them removes everything. Place the coin in a protective holder immediately, edges only, and take it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading and authentication. Let me bring this all together for you. 1975D Roosevelt dime. Mint mark appearing on the reverse, not the front. Natural brown spot toning on the reverse surface. Circulated condition, but detail still clearly visible on both sides. Every single characteristic confirmed. That dime. That circulated 10-cent coin that passed through hundreds of American hands and is worth $54,500. A coin somebody once spent on a newspaper, worth $54,000 today. 1975. America was about to turn 200 years old. The whole country was celebrating survival, celebrating history, celebrating the fact that something built so long ago was still standing. And this dime, pressed in Denver that very year, has done the same thing. It survived. Through circulation. Through decades of hands. Through coffee shops and laundromats and gas stations and grocery stores. It came out the other side worn, but unbroken. With its sayeret still intact. A mint mark where it should not be. Brown spots marking the passage of time. And a value that nobody who ever spent it could have imagined. The bicentennial ghost has been circulating through America for nearly 50 years. Hiding in plain sight. Waiting for one person, one single aware person, to finally look at the back of their dime. Tonight, be that person. Check your 1,975 dimes. Check the reverse, and it is worth every penny of $54,500. Coin number 5, 1987. America's booming. Wall Street is on fire. Music is loud. Fashion is bold. The economy is moving faster than anyone can keep up with. People are spending money like never before. And in Denver, the mint is keeping pace with all of it. Pressing dimes. Millions of them. Hundreds of millions. Nobody is thinking about saving their change. Nobody is looking at their dimes. Why would they? It was the 1982. Everything was about moving forward, spending faster, living bigger. And so this dime, this specific 1987D Roosevelt dime, gets pressed in Denver, shipped across the country, and thrown straight into the American economy. It gets used, gets circulated. It travels through the decade that forgot to slow down. And somewhere along that journey, quietly, something begins to happen to its surface. Something that would take nearly 4 decades to complete. Something worth $47,000. Here's what makes this coin the most surprising entry in our entire Roosevelt dime series. Because everything about this coin should disqualify it from being valuable. It is from 1987, not even 40 years ago. It has been circulated, used as real everyday money. And it has a dark layer covering its surface, which most people would immediately assume means damage. But every single one of those things, the year, the circulation, the dark layer, is actually exactly what makes this coin worth $47,000. Let me explain. The D-Mint mark confirms Denver production. 1987, Denver was striking dimes at record volumes. The sheer quantity produced means quality control was stretched thin. Within that stretched production, certain coins received a strike that was harder and deeper than standard. Every detail pushed further into the metal than normal. Roosevelt's portrait on the front, deeper than usual. The torch on the reverse, more defined than standard issue. Now that coin enters circulation, it moves through the world. And as it moves, as years turn into decades, the metal begins to react. A light black layer develops across the circulated surface. Not random, not patchy, not ugly. A smooth, even dark toning, sitting like a shadow across the entire coin, front and back, giving it a depth and character that uncirculated coins simply cannot replicate. Because this darkness was earned through circulation, through time, through 4 decades of American life. And underneath that earned darkness, the sharp, deep strike is still there, still visible, still defined, still extraordinary. A circulated coin, a dark layer, a deep strike, 3 things that should not produce value producing $47,000. Here's how to find this coin in your own collection. Look at any dime. Check the front. Roosevelt facing right. Read the date carefully. Does it say 1987? That is your first confirmation. Find the mint mark on the front of the coin, to the left of Roosevelt's portrait just above the date. Is there a small letter D there? Denver made this coin. That D is your green light. Step 3. Now look at the overall color of the coin. Hold it under a direct light source. Is the surface darker than a normal dime? Not from dirt, not from grime, but a smooth, even dark tone sitting naturally across the entire surface? Does it look almost like a shadow has been permanently cast over the coin? That is the light black layer. That is what you are looking for. Step 4. Look through that darkness. This is the critical step. Despite the dark surface, can you still make out Roosevelt's portrait underneath? Is the date 1987 clearly readable? Can you see the basic features of his face? Now flip it over. Through the dark toning on the reverse, can you still identify the torch, the branches, the lettering? Dark surface present, but detail still visible underneath. That combination is everything. Step 5. Feel the surface gently with clean, dry fingertips. Does it feel smooth and natural, not rough? Not flaky, not sticky. A natural toning layer feels like part of the coin itself, because it is. If everything matches in holder, edges only, immediately. So here we are, the final coin in our Roosevelt Dime series, and it is perhaps the most important lesson of all 5. 1987D Roosevelt Dime, circulated condition, light black layer across the entire surface, deep sharp strikes still visible underneath, Denver mint mark confirmed, a coin from your own lifetime, a coin that most people would look at and see nothing but a dark old dime worth 10 cents. But if your coin matches everything I just described, that dark circulated dime is worth $47,000 for a dime that has lived a full American life. We started this series in 1951 with a dime born during wartime. We traveled through 1977 through 2003 through 1975. And now we end here, in 1987, the decade that moved too fast to look down. And maybe that is the most powerful lesson this entire series has taught us. Every single coin we looked at today was overlooked. Every single one passed through hands that did not know, through people who were too busy, too distracted, too certain that pocket change could never matter. But it does matter. The 1951 war dime matters. The 1977 forgotten dime matters. The 2003 modern miracle matters. The 1975 bicentennial ghost matters. And this 1987 dark survivor earned its darkness through 4 decades of American life matters most of all. Because it proves that value is not about age. It is not about perfection. It is not about being kept safe in a vault somewhere. Sometimes value is earned through circulation, through time, through survival. Check every dime you own tonight. Check the ones that look dark. Check the ones that look worn. Check the ones that look ordinary. Because the dark survivor is still out there, still circulating, still waiting. And it has been waiting in the dark for nearly 40 years. For someone exactly like you,